Welcome to SVGTV News for Wednesday, May 2nd, 2018. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. As of Saturday, December 22nd, 2018, American Airlines will be operating direct weekly flights from Miami to the Argyle International Airport. The airline made the announcement today of its introduction of a year-round Saturday Airbus A319 service from Miami to SVG. Chief Executive Officer of the SVG Tourism Authority, Glenn Beach, told SVGTV News the American Airlines direct flights between Miami and the Argyle International Airport is a game changer for SVG's tourism industry. Beach said American Airlines is one of the largest airlines in the world and their service to SVG can bring tremendous benefits to the nation.
With you, this is our third contract with American Airlines. We had two previously. We had some issues with them and they weren't able to become a reality. So we're very happy. The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Tourism Authority, and I'm guessing the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, is very happy that this has taken place. We've known about it for a while, but obviously, as the Prime Minister said, and which I've always said, is that we would never make the announcement. We'd wait for the airlines to make the announcement. We did that with Caribbean Airlines. We did that with Air Canada. So we're ecstatic about it. I think what makes it unique is that there are a lot of big airlines out there. Air Canada Rouge, British Airways, Virgin, Caribbean Airlines, JetBlue. But American Airlines is obviously one of the biggest. And so to have them coming in directly from Miami is a huge game changer.
Beach said the route will give more options to persons wishing to travel to SVG from a number of destinations.
Miami is a huge hub for connections in the United States. So you have connections out of the West Coast, Dallas, Chicago, Atlanta, Boston. But beyond that, one of the things that in our discussions with American Airlines has been simply this, is that we've made sure that the connection coming out of London, that our flight into St. Vincent and the Grenadines from Miami will not leave before at least 2 hours, given at least 2 hours time for the connection out of England to come into Miami, so that if those out of England don't want to go through Barbados, don't want to go through Antigua, Grenada, St. Lucia, Trinidad and Tobago, there is the option of making the connection out of Miami. And these things are important because it gives not only our visitors but the diaspora more options in terms of ways to get to St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
The Tourism Authority CEO said that work is currently underway to secure flights out of the United Kingdom.
Now, the direct flights from Miami to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, not us making sure that there's that connection out of England, is not to say that we're not still working on England. We are working on England. I need people in England to understand this, not only the diaspora, but potential visitors out of the United Kingdom. But that's going to take a bit more time. And there's a process with all of these things. I mean, when we announced Air Canada Rouge, people in the U.S. were upset. We announced Caribbean Airlines out of New York, people in Miami were upset. Now we've announced that. I want to make sure that the people in the United Kingdom, not only diaspora, but visitors understand that it's coming, but there's a process to everything we do. But this one, in terms of American Airlines, is a big catch for us, and we're hoping for great load factors like we see coming out of Canada and New York so far.
Citizens of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the United Arab Emirates, the UAE, no longer need a visa to travel between both countries. The signing of the visa waiver agreement took place this morning at the Foreign Affairs Conference Room between Minister of Foreign Affairs Sir Louis Straker and the UAE's Minister of State for International Cooperation, Rahim Ibrahim Al-Hassimi. Discussions on other possible agreements in areas of tourism and education were held with the UAE delegation and government officials. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, who was on hand to facilitate the signing of the visa waiver agreement, says such an initiative must never be taken for granted as it helps smooth the progress for development.
Sometimes people take them slightly, but they are a profound indication of the closeness between two peoples. We have had no visas for citizens of the United Arab Emirates, but they've had visas in relation to us. The United States of America, you need a visa. Canada, you need a visa. Of course, we don't need visas to go to London or to go into the Schengen area in the European Union. But I make the comparison for you. I'm not critiquing the United States or Canada about their own policies. Those are their policies. But when a country which is far away from us says, look, you don't have to have a visa. You can come to our country. You can see what we have to offer.
PM Gonsalves said the UAE, through its Dubai Cares charity, has also recommitted itself to $500,000 towards the nation's school feeding program.
To assist us in finding investors out of Dubai who may be interested in getting into the tourism sector, particularly the hotel industry. And then state-to-state practical matters. You are aware that Dubai, through Dubai Cares, in which Her Excellency is very much involved, had made a grant contribution of $500,000 to the Zero Hunger Trust Fund. And Reem has kindly proposed, we really didn't have to ask her, she said she'd like to do a second tranche right away of $500,000 US for the Zero Hunger program. You know, it has been very much involved with the school feeding program, helping to redo a number of kitchens and to provide in those areas free, which are most affected by, as far as the census data show, by poverty, free lunches in those areas for the school children.
The Prime Minister also announced that in keeping with the aim of the government and people of Dubai to improve the quality of lives of people, have also committed to finance the building of footpaths throughout SVG.
You know, we are a hilly country. And you know, we have a lot of homes built where people need footpaths to get to. Some have been done, some are being done, but there's so much still need to be done. And they have agreed to fast-track a program for us to do work in the area of building the footpaths to assist persons going and coming. You know how difficult it is. The men and women who want to go to church, the people with the arthritis, the paraplegics, you know, you have to push the wheelchair. And as Reem also says, because yesterday her last son, she has 3 sons, was 1 year old, and she says, and also to push the stroller. The stroller, you know, so that the woman, and she's just thinking. And so we have had an agreement on this.
The UAE's Minister of State for International Cooperation, Raheem Ibrahim Al-Hassimi, recommitted her government's pledge of $5,000 to the National Schools Feeding Program, noting that her country is pleased to have relations with St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which has significant influence in the Caribbean.
We have tremendous respect for who you are, tremendous respect for the role that you play in the region. We look to you as not only a friendly country, but also a country that has significant influence, and we are very keen to continue to establish such strong ties, not only from a G2G level, which is important in its own right, but from a people-to-people level, for businesses to learn more about the opportunities, for students to explore scholarship and exchange programs, for different institutions, whether it's the elimination of poverty through the Zero Hunger file that you have, which has been a great honor and privilege for us to get involved in, to hear the stories of children who now through a homegrown school feeding program, and from parents who don't need to worry anymore about their children being fed in schools, is a true privilege for us to be part of. We have some of these programs in other parts of the world, and we're very keen to continue and to grow.
The UAE government official said having people-to-people cooperation is necessary for expansion.
To highlight the power and the importance of connecting minds to be able to create a future. I've had the privilege of visiting your country for several years now, and every time I come, I see new and interesting things being developed. I remember when I met the Prime Minister last, we were talking about the new airport. I landed yesterday in the new airport. It's fantastic. Congratulations. I remember when the new airport was established in my own country decades ago, it became the engine of a future robust tourism sector. I myself and the delegation stayed in a lovely hotel overlooking the harbor. Really, I cannot emphasize enough how generous your people are, how hospitable you all are, and how much potential we believe that this relationship could deliver upon. I think especially in the tourism sector and hotel management, certainly in establishing perhaps even a vocational training program to help young people have strong jobs.
In other news, barrister at law and former diplomat Julian Jack says the British government should offer an amnesty to those who have been negatively affected by the Windrush deportation saga. Jack was a panelist on Magic 103.7 Sunday Brunch radio program, which highlighted possible solutions to the issue. The attorney said the rights of citizens must be protected, including those from the Windrush generation.
The issue of an amnesty should be, I think, the first step in making any meaningful dialogue to have some sort of solution and resolution to the matter. So that you say, look, if we have 10,000 persons who are affected, you need to come forward, you need to give your basic information, and we need to process that in such a way that you can do it very quickly to have some sort of status regained, that they can regain some status. Failing that, you can have a long and protracted sort of discussion about what sorts of measures should be taken. Apology, yes, of course, it is a good political soundbite, but compensation, yes, of course, that doesn't actually guarantee anything. What you want is protection of those very freedoms, reinstate them, and do so by way of some sort of amnesty.
Jack said it is also important that all Commonwealth citizens, including from SVG, are educated on the policies of the UK government in relation to citizenship.
Under the, what you call it, withdrawal bill, look at the rights that they are going to guarantee EU nationals compared to their own citizens.
Good point.
And it is really ridiculous when you think of it. How could you guarantee more protection of European nationals than you would guarantee the protection of your own citizens? It's difficult. They have the right to move their families unfettered, no problem, but your own citizens, you say, well, there are XYZ amount of restrictions. So I think the British Commonwealth citizen, the generation of our people who are out there, we need to find a way to sensitize them, to educate them, and to bring them to an understanding of the full implications of what this would mean, and to see the disadvantage, or rather well, it's not a disadvantage, but the bias, because it's a bias, a bias that the system has now created in respect of their freedoms.
Minister of Foreign Affairs, Sir Louis Straker, says the UK Prime Minister Theresa May has already given the assurance that the matter of the Windrush saga will be cleared up soon, and highlighted some of the promises made at a recently held meeting of the Commonwealth in London with other CARICOM leaders.
There were those among us who were skeptical or cynical, saying that the rush to appease us was in order to not have it overshadow the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. But we gave the Prime Minister and the government the benefit of the doubt and told them that we would be following up, and our High Commissioners are very keen and intense in pursuing this issue to make sure that the matter is dealt with for those who were so badly treated, and that there would be no more deportation, and those in deportation camp would be removed immediately. The Prime Minister gave us the assurance that this matter would be handled in 2 weeks' time.
Commonwealth Secretary General Baroness Patricia Scotland QC says that the Commonwealth is making efforts to ensure that more countries, particularly from small island states, receive millions in funding for trade and climate resilience. Baroness Scotland, who recently visited this country last Monday, April 30th, said that the Commonwealth has been implementing initiatives to ensure that smaller nations have easier access to funding. She said one such initiative has up to $300 million, and that they are establishing expertise to help countries obtain such finance.
Trade facility that we launched. This will enable small states to apply for up to $300 million over a period of 3 years to help build on their trade facilities in country. And so real tools are being developed together with the Financial Climate Change Access Hub, which will help our countries to get the advice they need to draw down money from the Green Fund, because there are billions of dollars in the Green Fund, but most of our countries have no access to it because we don't have the acuity, the expertise, or the ability to make claims in a way that are likely to be fulfilled. So all of that is now being done together with the Commonwealth through the Secretariat, working with all our countries.
The Commonwealth Secretary General says that a proposal to raise funds for hurricane relief through the sport of cricket is also being explored with a number of Caribbean leaders.
Create a series of cricket matches in the name of the presidents and the prime ministers in the region, whereby we will hopefully raise visibility but also seek to raise money for our climate resilience initiatives. And I was sharing that with Prime Minister Chastanet, and I've shared it here in St Vincent. After St Vincent's, I'm going to St Kitts. I will be talking to Prime Minister Harris, and then I'm going on to Grenada, to Guyana for the Commonwealth Judges and Magistrates Conference, where we'll be talking about financial issues in terms of money laundering and those matters. So I'll also be talking to President Granger about the wider issues in relation to preparing for the next season as well.
The Caribex Task Force ships will visit SVG for the first time, docking at Port Kingston on Saturday morning, May 5th, and remaining until Wednesday, May 9th. The task force is composed of 3 patrol ships from the Northeast Patrol Flotilla with a total of 110 officers and sailors on board. According to a news release from the Agency of Public Information, the presence of these vessels in Kingston is linked to the growing rapprochement between Brazil and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, with the entry into force of the bilateral agreements on educational and cultural cooperation between the 2 countries and the signing of the agreement on technical cooperation. The ships will be open to public visits on the 6th and 7th of May from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. During their stay in Kingston, the crew will be engaged in a number of social activities, including football matches. This country's new supervisor of elections, Dora James, was charged by Governor General Sir Frederick Ballantyne to remain committed to carrying out her duties in ensuring that all elections here are free and fair. Sir Frederick was at the time speaking at the official swearing-in ceremony of the new supervisor of elections today at Government House. James, who was also sworn in as a Justice of Peace at today's ceremony, was described by the Governor General as a lady of integrity who has served in the public service for several years.
Beyond the polling, most people think that the supervisor of election, is just responsible for the polling. But you're responsible for the whole mechanism. It's a lot of work in the interim, and most people don't realize how difficult or how significant that work is. Depend on you to act fair and to always to be honest, and more than anything else, to be able to defend yourself. Not only to defend yourself, that you've done the right thing to the population, but quite often you ask to defend yourself in court, to prove and to show that you've done everything that is fair.
In her remarks, the newly appointed supervisor of elections, Dora James, thanked her predecessor, Sylvia Finley Scrub, for her years of service. She also pledged her commitment to working hard in her new position.
I too want to thank Mrs. Finley for her work, and I am certain that I'm going to work hard to ensure fairness and integrity in the Office of Supervisor of Elections. I asked my family for their support, and they did. And I just want to thank them so much for their support. To St. Vincent and the Grenadines, I say, fear not, God is in control.
James further gave the assurance that she will work together with her team to guarantee free and fair elections in SVG.
He promises to deliver, and he will deliver. And with your support, we will bring integrity, continued integrity in the Office of Supervisor of Elections. I am always available. It's a public office, and if you need any questions answered, you can check the team. The team is excellent. They know exactly what they're doing, and I'm just going to add to that team. Thank you very much to all, and may God bless us all.
Meantime, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of National Security, Godfrey Pompey, at today's swearing-in ceremony, thanked the new supervisor of elections for accepting the challenge. He also expressed gratitude to the outgoing supervisor of elections, Sylvia Finley Scrub, for her contribution to the public service.
Thanks to Ms. James, first of all, for accepting this important responsibility as supervisor of elections, and to thank her husband and family for allowing her to make this bold move. And also I want to go on record on behalf of the Ministry of National Security with responsibility for electoral matters to thank the outgoing supervisor of elections, Mrs. Sylvia Finley, for human service over the years. I want to wish her well in her retirement.
2 days after well-known pastor Nigel Morgan and 2 of his family members, including his wife Althea and daughter Crystal, was sentenced to 4 years behind bars for pouring hot water and causing bodily harm to Cuthbert Victory in an incident on April 9, 2016. The public have been weighing in heavily on the sentence. Some of these persons share their views with SVGTV News today in capital Kingstown.
It was too little because for a pastor, he's a man of stature and he should, within himself, know more better than that. And he himself, they deserve more time.
How much years do you feel would have been appropriate for this song?
Maximum penalty for attempt murder.
Yeah, that wickedness, Jed. Now check. Yeah. So 4 years to you is appropriate. Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to deal with them and they according to their works, Jed. The overs. Yeah, them and the wicked, Jed. Yeah.
He could have been cautioned a little because he's a pastor and I believe he's a teacher too. And then you have to look out for the Christian because, you know, in this world, people are going to look down now on the Christian. And by how he's a pastor, they're going to judge other pastors like that. So I think, well, they give him some years, so he have to satisfy with that because before he should have think what he's doing. All of them should have think what they are doing. So
you think the 4 years is justified?
Yeah.
Could have been more still, but just because of the way, you know, his system set up. I just see where his system set up, but each one of them have to pay one of them cake because none can stand for all because in the before the Almighty, all of them are guilty of the same sin. You know? So then, it really wrong for me to see a pastor and put in them kind of thing and still try to teach it to them. So he come like, you know, he's not different than the children them.
The 2018 Gospel Festival, which concluded last Sunday, April 29, 2018, has been described as nothing less than extraordinary by the head of the organizing committee. The festival was held under the theme, A Glorious Celebration of the Gospel Jesus Christ. Nikita Tony tells us more in this report.
The curtains came down on the 2018 SVG Gospel Fest last Sunday, April 29th at the Victoria Park. In an interview with SVGTV News today, Wednesday, May 2nd, newly appointed chairman of the SVG Gospel Fest Committee, Manson Short, said he was extremely pleased with the outcome of this year's festival.
We have seen tremendous growth to the festival. What we've seen so far is that we have some shows that we had brought into place maybe, I think, the past 2 years. And we've seen those shows develop and should, in the near future, become independent shows.
Pointing out that he remains committed to making the festival more attractive to the entire public, Short called for more churches and groups to participate in the annual festival.
I found that this year, the participation in the zonal showcases, what we would have to do in the future is try to get our shows out to the church so that the church can look at our activities, and when they plan the annual calendar, they would take Gospel Fest into consideration.
Pastor Short also extended gratitude to all sponsors and participants for their continued involvement, adding that Sunday's Grand Showcase was indeed an appropriate culmination for this year's event.
And on stage, our sister Bridget Blucher, and we also presented a plaque to her as a token of our appreciation to her on behalf of Gospel Fest and the rest of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Local performances, they were good, and but we are looking forward for any sort of critique, not just pulling down the festival, but to give us suggestions that would help the festival to move forward.
Sunday's Grand Showcase saw performances from top performers in the zonal showcases, along with featured acts from regional artist Blessed Messenger and SVG's cultural ambassador evangelist Bridget Blucher. Here's a highlight of Sunday's showcase.
I realize it's because of you and your grace that I'm alive.
He said, "Depart from me, you worker of iniquity." Know where I am. In hell I lift up my eyes.
The blood of Jesus for your healing. Cover yourself from the floor to the ceiling. The blood of Jesus on the neighbor. Let the world know Christ is the Savior.
The SVG Gospel Festival, which is in its 17th year of existence, has over the years gained a major following and is considered to be a must-have event on the calendar of cultural events here in SVG. Nikita Tony reporting for SVG TV News.